Welcome to part 2 of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Oracle games. The adventure of McFlight continues into the land of Holodrum and Oracle of Seasons, the more combat-oriented of the Oracle games.
Yes, having raised his middle finger to Labrina, we are now venturing off into new and hopefully better territories, but we'll see.
Well, with Ages, I recorded a couple parts at a time. With this one, I did a massive recording binge, and I'm already past the 6th dungeon now.
That's one way to do it. So the cutscenes are pretty much the same. There's a few differences, but not much.
Yeah. The intro is pretty much the same, though. McFly seems a little more... He's unsure, because he knows where this is going.
Oh, please. Not another tree.
Quickly, I want to apologize to my patron, Mad Eye Wolf. They had suggested a name for Oracle of Seasons, and I told them I was going to use it before I learned that the password just carries over the name, so this will be named McFly again. But their suggestion was Phil, in reference to Groundhog Day, because they had a bootleg copy of these games, and the copy would not save, so every time they turned on the game, they had to restart. I kind of like the story behind that, so sorry we're not going to be using that. Can't think of any upcoming LP or game where naming him Phil would be appropriate, or the name isn't already taken, but I'll try to find something.
You should play the game in Italiano.
And not know anything.
Right.
A little confused there, you have to choose secrets.
Yeah, you can't link the game without a link cable and 2 Game Boys. Hey, we're stabbing the zeros.
So linked game, you start out with 4 hearts instead of 3.
Yeah, pretty neat. You also get this neat cutscene at the beginning. So the witches lit the flame of sorrow in the last game, so that's going to carry on into this one.
The troubles you caused.
Those 2 or 3 things she fucked up.
Those bunnies you turned to stone.
That dad and son playing a game of catch. So much sorrow. The evil king, why, who could that be? It's Zant.
Damn it. But he was so fun.
At least there's no fairy woods!
You have to actually press the button.
Oh, right. Honestly, I think he'd rather just stay there spinning for eternity.
I like how this one starts with you just knocking yourself out.
Right. He fell so hard, hit the ground. Done.
Except our quest hero, smack.
Hey, that wasn't Impa.
It's a party and troop.
That's correct.
Except they're not.
So the last game was talking about a traveling band. This game actually starts with a traveling band.
In the Unlinked game, did they just straight up tell you, yeah, we're secretly knights?
Nope. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and share something. I like Ages a little better because it's puzzle-based, but Oracle Seasons is still a really good game, and I prefer Din to Nehru. She's a lot more fun.
She seems to have more personality.
Yeah. And this game, I think, looks a lot better than Ages. I know it looks similar right now, but I really like the season gimmick that you get a little later, and it changes the atmosphere. And I just think overall it looks pretty, because I feel like Ages had 2 color palettes. It was colorful and then also muted. In this one, you've got basically 4 different ways to look at all the landscape. It's pretty cool.
Even just immediately, it feels like there's more color than there was in Ages.
Yeah, so this one definitely looks prettier, and I like it for that. Also, this game has a ton of callbacks to the original NES classic Zelda game, so I'm going to try and point out any of those I see, but I haven't played it too much to notice everything, but there are quite a few obvious ones, including some bosses that are just straight up remixed from the NES game. Oh, she's talking about Labrina also, which is a linked game thing.
The game bills itself as being directly carried on from Ages.
Right, and if you started with this one first, Nehru would be doing the same thing. Ooh. Is McFly a good dancer?
It certainly looks like his heart is easing. Or seizing.
How do those bracelets stay on her arms?
When it flings out on his face.
He's knocked out again for another hour.
You're a good dancer. Most guys barf by the third spin.
So in this game, Impa's part of the musical band troupe, but she doesn't play anything. I'm thinking she's got to be a bodyguard.
So if everyone can travel here from Hyrule anyway, why did I have to be teleported?
Oh no, not again!
That's a bad storm.
Right. I think this boss has a slightly deeper voice.
Yo-ho-ho.
But it'd be funnier if he didn't. Onyx.
General Manager of Darkness. The Blue Tornado.
Pardon me as I slowly fling all these guys off the screen. I will prove to be the better dancer. Look at how fast I spin.
Nope.
It didn't work the second time either. See, this guy's tower's already built.
Yeah, Varen.
Get on it.
He's just a walking pyramid.
Right, so the last main antagonist was just a sorceress. This is just a giant dude in fuck-off armor.
Yeah.
I love it.
He looks pretty rad. He's a lot less interesting a villain, though.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of characterization.
Varen didn't either, but she had unique touches. Onyx is just bad guy.
Yeah. 1 point in Aegis' favor.
His method of entrapment is a lot less horrific as well.
Right, and a little more classic Zelda.
Trapped in a crystal.
Although that sounds pretty horrifying.
Eh.
So this game has a place actually called the Temple of Seasons, which is where you get all your seasons powers from. So you're going to be visiting quite a bit. But not yet, because he's burying it in the ground.
Right.
Whoops.
It is an odd concept of throwing the seasons out of whack. Because just on the surface, even as a kid, I thought traveling through time sounds so much cooler. But you think about it, if you did throw the seasons out of the whack, that would fuck up a lot of things.
Right. Farming, no food, everybody dies. Also, his destruction seems a lot more widespread than Varen's, but maybe it's just because they didn't show as much.
Yeah, with Varen, they showed very specific scenes. With Onyx, they just showed the village that's one screen down.
Right. Oh, another tree. This one's not going to try and marry me, is it?
No, this one's just sleepy.
I like this tree better.
Nah, I don't wanna. I'm gonna go exploring.
Oh boy, more gacha seeds.
Oh, I can't go anywhere.
Yeah, I smell a trading sequence.
My precious mittens won't come down. That cat stole them.
Somehow yelling at my mittens doesn't make them come down. Oh, it's spring already. So nice.
That area immediately to the north, it defaults at winter. Places like the village, they will cycle seasons. Pretty much every time you leave the area and come back.
Yeah, there are a few areas of the game that are season locked, but the rest of them cycle, which is pretty cool. You get a little notification that flies across the screen when you enter a new zone, and it tells you what season you're in if it's not obviously apparent to you.
Trying to work out. A little hard without weights.
Right. It was winter 5 seconds ago. I put on a coat. Now I'm too hot. Your harvest is probably fucked, lady. Sorry.
What will it do to this year's harvest of naturally growing grass?
Don't knock it. They eat grass. So what?
Once again, I don't feel need to talk to the know-it-all birds, but at least they're there.
Yeah. I mean, if you're new to the whole genre, go ahead and talk to them. But really, a lot of the stuff you can just figure it out by going through the game naturally.
After ages, I'm a lot more prepared this time around.
Which is good. It'll probably make your experience a little bit more enriching in this game.
So you've got another very long trading side quest. That guy is actually one of the last people you talk to, so you meet him really early. Now, where Ages had some character callbacks to Majora's Mask, this one has some to Ocarina of Time, but the mayor of Lina Village, visually I thought he looks like the mayor from Majora's Mask. This guy, I don't think he looks like anybody. Maybe a little like Talon, but he's not.
Right. He looks a lot like the sprite of the guy you find at the very beginning of Link's Awakening. I think, is it Marin or Terran? Something like that. Anyway, he's the guy who gives you your shield at the beginning of the game, but he's the generic guy who kind of looks like Mario that's in these 2D Zelda games.
Yeah. Believe me, we know about gaseous seats.
Right. I foresee we're going to do some wanton destruction of this guy's wall a little later, too.
It's already halfway there. So the same deal as Ages. Plant it, kill 30 enemies, or if you get the ring, kill 15 enemies, and then there'll be something in the seed. Usually rings, sometimes useless stuff like hearts or fairies.
I was going to say, you have the ring because when you do a traded game, your rings go with you.
Not the case.
Why am I... Wait a minute. Or is it when you trade them back to the other game? Or I might be thinking of hero mode. Oh, there's a mode. Whatever. Shut up.
Yeah, that's probably what you're thinking about. The point is the rings did not carry over.
Right, there's a hero mode if you restart the game. Because I remember there's also an option to start the game with the sword already in hand, and you get all the rings, so that must be the hero mode that I'm thinking of.
I do know with the Link's game, I do actually start with the sword, and that sign told me to show a sign of courage. That means bringing out the sword. I didn't realize I had it.
Right. Normally you have to go through a little mini-dungeon.
In the Link's game, that dungeon, the Hero's Cave, is actually a much bigger dungeon. Like, sort of endgame stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that stump.
Now I'm taller. Now I'm not. Let's put on the Minish cap. Oh, this house looks familiar.
Guess who's here?
Hey!
It's the family Biff.
Oh, you've got Hyper Biff. He's got a lot of energy because you paid a lot of money for his treatment. It's Biff!
There's a lot of drugs going on in that kid.
Should we get him some Ritalin or something? I mean, maybe he should run around outside.
His story's mostly done. He's got like one more stage and then I'll be grown up.
Excuse me. So this game also has a secret shop, but You don't time travel to get to it. You have to have a special members card.
And now it's winter here. Winter, sometimes things will be dead, but also there will be massive piles of snow, some of which can be used as platforms.
So every season has benefits and hindrances. Winter's hindrances also are that there's a lot of piles of thick snow everywhere that you have to shovel out. You don't have a shovel yet.
And also in this game, the seeds do return, but they only bloom in certain seasons.
Hey, it's the SimCity guy.
Now, he definitely returns from, I think, Link's Awakening.
Yeah, he writes a letter to somebody in that game. He's part of the trading sequence.
And he is again in this one. And it's Vasu again.
Would you like another friendship ring?
No, we're not friends this time. Wait a minute. Aha. In the Link's game, you start with a sword. I already proved my braveness, damn it. Now this Maku tree, he's just very sleepy. So pop his snot.
I immediately like this tree better because he's not in love with us. Unless he's secretly in love with us, you never know. He just doesn't know how to say it.
He's aching with emotion, but he's too professional. Draining all of my sap, might.
You might say I'm pretty sapped.
You might say I'm a sap.
So, no more essences of time, we've got essences of nature. But it's the same deal. Collect 8 things, and you can beat the game.
Stop starting with yes.
So this tree straight up just gives you the key to the first dungeon right away. You don't have to go back in time and save him.
And he's out.
And I'm in a coma now.
Every time you talk to Impa, she ends with, "Go with caution."
Be careful. Thanks, Mom.
Unlike the last 5 times, go with caution, damn it.
No, I really want you to be careful this time.
So just 2 screens up, and 1 screen left from Horon Village is the dungeon. But first, quickly looking over here, there's another one of those stumps.
Right, this is where you first saw Din.
It is. We could not leave. Well, actually, I probably had my sword at the time, but...
You couldn't have gotten much farther.
So speaking of callbacks to the NES Zelda... That's pretty much straight up the first dungeon.
Right. It's a big tree.
From the look to the placement.
Right, so that's the first of many. There's going to be quite a few. Some of them are pretty cool. Some of them are pretty obscure. One of my favorite bosses in this game, though, is from the NES game, and it's a tough fight.
Thinking about it, it feels like most of the bosses are carryovers. They're just adapted with the items and mechanics you get in this game.
Dodongo dislikes smoke.
And being hurled into spikes.
The new ways are sometimes better.